Hey everyone, Marcin again. Welcome back to our photography business journey. And today we're hopping into something that might just blow your mind a little. The idea that there's actually no real competition out there. So here is what you'll get out of today's video. First, we're going to break down why the idea of competition is really just a myth in photography world. Next, I'll share 3 ways you can leverage your unique style so you never have to worry about competing with others. And finally, we'll talk about how this mindset shift can actually attract more of the right clients for you. As always, the video is just one piece of a bigger puzzle we're building. Each episode, we're tackling a different aspect of growing your photography business piece by piece. So let's dive in and start looking at why you're actually your own best secret weapon. And don't forget, stick around till the end for a little bonus resource that I just put together for you. So today's presentation, let me switch over to this screen here. Hopefully you guys can see it. This one says there is no competition. Let me just move it around so you guys can see the whole thing. And the first slide here is says there's no competition. Are you trapped in the mindset that every other photographer is your competition? What if this wasn't true? Clients don't pick photographers based only on price or skill, which that's what we think about most of the time. Let's explore how to break free from this limiting belief, because in reality, it is a limiting belief. Getting into photography, especially when you come from a world of just operating like conventional human beings, where you have regular jobs, because that's usually how we start. It's a limiting belief. So the next slide is this. When your clients approach you, very often we think that, I remember when I started, it's true for me, so hopefully it's true for you also. I remember I was always thinking that clients choose me based on like my photos and my price alone. Like I thought that was it. Maybe some sort of a combination of like product, maybe albums, or what options I offer. But I learned over time, and this is when I interacted not only with photographers but just with business owners and getting into those circles. It took a very long time to realize that, but it was so freeing and so liberating when I heard that. They're like, dude, they're not choosing you simply on price. It's actually wrong way to think about it. Because all you're going to do is drive your price down when you think of price, and then lowering it every single time you don't get a client. But when your clients reach out to you, I remember I had a client first time when it happened to me, they came in for a consultation. We were at Starbucks just talking. I was going through the package and how the day is going to look like, and we're going to talk about client interaction during another session. But basically, I remember Bride made a comment, and she said, "Yeah, well, we have seen other photographers, and they were actually more affordable, like from her standpoint. Like, yeah, I know you're like slightly more expensive," but she's like, "I simply didn't feel comfortable talking to them. Like, I know they're good. The price worked for us, but it's like, it's just the way they sort of like carry themselves, and they didn't seem too friendly. All they want to talk about is like strictly business and whatever. And like, we can just sit down with you, and I feel like talking to, not like a friend, but whatever the term she used. She's like, I just feel comfortable talking to you, and we're going to be like spending an entire day with you." So it was a big factor for her to consider when choosing a client. And if you think about it, they're connecting with you. Sometimes when I tell stories, sometimes when I'm sitting sometimes most of the time, when I sit in a conversation with a client, I tell them stories. I tell them about past shoots. I tell them about past clients. I tell them about other brides. And they basically connect with you on this emotional level. So they hear stories. They can relate because they go through the same struggles. Like, they're concerned about same things. Client wants to be relaxed on their wedding day. They don't want to be rushed. They want to have somebody that kind of has been in some situations. They know maybe how to handle it. So stress is very, very important. So they connect with you, as the slide says. There's an identity connection, there's an emotional connection, and there's a logical connection. So I started with the emotional one, but if I go to identity connection, I was born and raised in Poland. I moved here to US when I was 18, 19, around that time. But a lot of clients, when they would come in, they would automatically reject somebody that didn't come from like the Polish background or couldn't speak the language or whatever. And guess what? Like if you have some sort of an origin, let's say you're down from south, maybe you speak Spanish, maybe you have a value, you have a background, you have a similar family that you come from, that your client comes from, they're gonna connect with you on this identity level. Maybe you're from the same school, maybe you're from the same town, maybe you're single mom. All of those little connections are tremendously important for the client. So when they choose you and they look at another photographer, maybe it could be as simple as like a female and a male. I know for a lot of my clients, like that was important. And depending on who's choosing, maybe you have a connection with the groom better than you have with the bride. Sometimes brides are not even present in consultations. So I want you to know that because of who you are and your identity, it's going to be a very individual experience for you and your client, because you can connect on so many levels just based on your history, where you have been, where you're from, how you're thinking about some things. So identity is very important. Emotional, I already said. Your stories and brand presence make them feel connected. We're going to spend quite a little bit of time talking about your brand and what that means for your client and what is that you have to do to build the brand in another episode. But this emotional connection, the stories, to make them feel. There's this saying, it's like people that will not remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. It's super, super important. So it's like identity, emotional connection. And then finally, it's the logical connection, right? So with the logical connection, some clients choose based on pricing, packages, or availability. And yes, it's important. They will look at your price. But I want you to know that price is not the only thing client considers when they're out there selecting a photographer. Like all of those things are equally important. And some of you will probably disagree with me saying that most of your clients are looking and are driven by price. Well, let me tell you something. We're going to talk about packages and pricing. When you start, you have to go through a period where you have, let's call it, a lower quality client. You have people that are searching for price alone, and all that's going to do is drive your price down, and that's not a good strategy for long-term development, because you're gonna compete with somebody based on price. Eventually, you guys are going to drop prices, do more work, and that leads to not a positive ending. So you have to go through a phase of charging client. You're going to see that most of the clients are at the beginning are going to be asking for price and are going to be price driven. But as you move forward with them, again, I'm kind of segueing out on price, but it's okay. As you go up with pricing, as you notice yourself booking more calls, whether it's portraits or family sessions or events or weddings, you're going to see that you're going to start to book about 90% of the people that you have conversations with, maybe 95, maybe 97. At one point, I had that revelation and this self-discovery. I'm like, I'm booking too many calls, and I thought that was a positive thing. I'm like, wow, I'm a great closer, right? I'm good at sales. But then I hired somebody, a coach, that drove me through this, and he's like, dude, you should be dropping at least 30%, 25, 30, 35% of your top of your clients, so that it's less work, raising your prices. So now the higher prices are making up for the clients that you dropped. And that's how you gradually go up. So that's very important. So yeah, people are going to look at pricing at the very beginning. But then as you raise prices, yes, you will have less clients at the beginning in those stages. When you raise it, you'll feel it like, oh, it's the last clients, but then I get more money. And then you level up, you go higher. And let me tell you, clients that pay less are super, super picky. They're going to ask for things. This is Clients that pay, I can tell you for me, this magic sort of line was at around $4,000, maybe 4,500. Clients that pay 4,000, 5, 6, 8, 12, they, and those may be higher numbers for you now, especially if you're starting. But if you have been doing this for maybe a little bit, maybe you have tried some shoots, you're going to notice they don't ask questions. They just show up, they hire you, they pay in the end, and they're very happy. Those are usually like your brand carriers. They walk around, they're super happy, super excited, because they know that the clients that are willing and able to pay more, they understand the value that they received. They know that better things cost more. I mean, you know that, right? So those are the why clients choose you, for those 3 reasons, and it's very important to know. Clients select photographers for a reason beyond just photography skills. It's about making a connection, which I just mentioned. So the next slide here, the problem with competition mindset. So a couple things going on here. When you think of a competition, 4 things are happening. So it creates fear. You become afraid to share your knowledge with other photographers. We'll talk about it in a second. Creates scarcity. You believe that there isn't enough business for everyone. So not true. Creates hesitation. You avoid networking with potential collaborators because, again, you think it's competition. And then it actually limits your income. I don't know if you ever thought about it this way. I never did for years. And then I started networking and money started flowing. More money started flowing in. It wasn't something that was blocking the business totally, but like I've opened a margin of profits that started coming in from other photographers. So basically here I said, you're too busy trying to be the cheapest. And that's not the name of the game. If you're going to go downwards, eventually you're going to stop, because you're going to drive yourself to the point where you're going to be doing a lot and charging not enough. And that game is not fun at that point. So you have to make sure that you got to go up with your pricing over time, continuously. And the only way you can do it is with photographers. So with other photographers, because you're going to see what they're doing, you're going to see them going up, and that's going to create more conviction and give you a permission, a green light to move in sort of the same direction. So on sharing knowledge that could help you grow, I'll just say this. A lot of times I ran into questions about lighting or about like the off-camera lighting. I remember I was stuck there for a very long time. I didn't know what to do, with my flash and how to position and whatever. So, and I even going through like videos and books, and it's just I wasn't getting it until I was able to like connect with other photographers, and that's where I was able to like unlock. But at the same time, remember, you're also providing them value. You've been at events and shoots, and you've dealt with families, and you've dealt with clients' questions. So when you connect with them, you can actually exchange that information. You're basically growing in like a 5x, 10x rate, other than, comparing to you going by yourself and trying to figure everything out on your own. Networking with others that could send you referrals. So the thing is, I mentioned part of the revenue started flowing from other photographers. Once you develop relationships with other photographers, you will notice that when they're busy, sometimes, and it's for different reasons. They may be busy because they have an event. They may be busy because they're away. They may be dealing with client. If you're, especially this happens when you deal with photographers that are already maybe charging higher prices. They get a $3,000, $4,000 client. I was in a case where one of my friends, his packages, his sort of go-to package would be $8,000, and he wasn't interested in shooting for $3,000, $4,000. And for me, that was my ceiling. So when I was networking with them, not only was the availability factor where they could send me a client, but also they just didn't want to deal with it. It was like, hey, I don't have a package for you for 3 or 4, but I have a friend that does. And he would send me business all the time. And it wouldn't be just a single photographer, it would be a couple of photographers. So if you're hanging around with 5, 6 other photographers and exchange ideas and exchange the knowledge, and you guys help each other grow, this is exactly what's going to happen. And it compounds. Like in 1 year, you can generate $20,000-$30,000 on top of what you're already making anyway, or what you're about to be making anyway. So it's a very, very important thing. And raising prices, I kind of talked about this already. There's this constant of like, hey, I'm gonna go lower. Sure, I'm gonna go lower because you're just looking at money. But like the thing is, when you get that conviction from others, seeing others charging, like that friend of mine where I saw him charging 8,000, I'm like, Jesus, it's like double when I was starting. Like it's like double, or his 12,000 packet was like triple what I was charging. I'm like, but he had clients. And he lived in the same like geographical area. It wasn't, comparing myself to like another state. It was basically looking at him and like, well, I guess it's possible if it's, and he's a human being. He lives in the same area, same clients. Is just like his marketing, his message was different, and it gives you that okay to move forward. And the mindset, what comes with it, the mindset shift. I always talk about this, like I mentioned at the beginning. It's the scarcity thinking that keeps you small, and growth thinking basically opens the door. And I know it's hard to overcome that challenge. I know it's hard to punch through this wall, but it's something you guys definitely have to do because it's just gonna do tremendous changes after you're able to do that. Next one, the power of community. And I already mentioned kind of the power of like other photographers. So I said, what if you are in a circle of like 5 or 6 photographers? I can tell you this, there's a saying that you're an average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. Hey guys, pausing here for a quick second. If you're curious about where you stand on your photography journey in this process of building this business, we've created a quick assessment to help you identify your strengths and areas for growth. Just click on the link in the description or follow the link on the screen, take the assessment, and get your personalized insights to help you move forward. Let's go back to the video. And this translates to any part of our life. So if you surround yourself with shitty moms, you're probably going to be a shitty mom. If you hang out with friends that are constantly drinking and not moving themselves forward, you're going to be the 6th one. If you're hanging around with photographers that are pushing forward and exchanging information, you're going to be one of them. Guaranteed. Like, it's just guaranteed. That's why a lot of times parents are concerned about like, who their kids are surrounded by, right? Because they don't want them to become the 6th victim, right? If you surround yourselves with winners, it's almost impossible because of the nature of how we humans operate for you to not get to that next level. And you may not reach the 100% of wherever they are, but even if you reach 50% and 60%, it's already so much higher than where you were previously. So that I always have that in mind, like when I hang out with people, when I'm super selective when it comes to like, hey, who's in my circle, who can help me, and I try not to waste time somewhere else. Like, there's another saying that's very important. It says, don't listen to the ones that are closest to you. Listen to those that are closest to your goal. And I heard that one, and I'm like, Jesus, it's so true. Because you gotta be there. You gotta hang out with people that are doing the same stuff. Like, even doing this live, it was super uncomfortable to try to do that. But guess what? All of my friends, entrepreneurs, friends, are doing the very same thing. So is it uncomfortable at the beginning? Of course, it's crazy. I was like petrified at the beginning, but then I started doing recordings. Joanna is doing some stuff online. So Joanna, when I say Joanna, it's my wife. She's doing the same thing, and it's like we're just punching through those walls. And after a while, you do it once or twice, you're like, hey, that wasn't too bad. Still a little uncomfortable, but like you do it 10 times, you do it 20 times. It's the same thing. And it's like when you go on a shoot, like first time, you have no idea what you're doing. You're going to probably mess up, but it's okay. As long as you're straightforward with your client and you say, hey, listen, I'm just starting out. I want the opportunity to just be able to work with you. Maybe it's your very first gig. Grab a neighbor, grab a friend, grab somebody you work with and say, hey, listen, don't ask them the direct question. Don't put them on the spot, but turn around and say, listen, here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to start this photography thing. Do you know of anybody, maybe your friends or family, that would like some photos taken of their family? I'll do it for free because I need it for my portfolio. Right? So you're not putting them on the spot. Like, think about it. It's just psychology. It's just social behaviors, right? Like, when you ask them, what do you think they're going to say? Like, they're going to not pass on the opportunity. They're going to say, oh, hold on. Like, yeah, I know people, but like, what about me? Right? So it's a nice way to sort of start a conversation and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to charge at the beginning because I'm building my portfolio. Is that cool? Who's not going to say no? Like, I'm a photographer. I've done this for 17, 18 years, right? And the thing is, like, I need somebody sometimes to take photos of me. If somebody approached me like, hey, Marcin, can we just go? Like, can you grab your family and like, can we go to the park and we're going to, like, everybody would be excited. I would be excited. And Joanna would be excited. Like, it's like a great offer, right? And then gradually, if you're open with your client, you move forward. But I'm digressing. I talked about the increase of prices. I don't think I have to go there. What you're going to do with a pricing increase. So 3 things I mentioned here. Pricing increases when your circle levels up, they increase pricing, and you do too. I've already covered that. You know what that means. Attract better clients. Kind of already mentioned that. They attract better clients, and you start attracting them too. It's just natural organic growth. You move with your prices. You start attracting better clients, and you have less headaches. Trust me on that one. And then you upgrade your work. They upgrade their work, and you get inspired and improve. It's a natural thing. They start talking about new technique, new way of lighting something, new way of setting up groups, new ways of doing things faster, new ways of outsourcing, new ways of, hey, how can I get an editor? I just want to shoot weddings. I don't want to edit weddings. I don't want to do selections. Like, places where you can go. Again, it's all roads lead to one thing: connect with other people. So those things are definitely gonna happen. Focus on expanding your network and learning from those ahead of you. So I think I've said enough on this one. And let's talk about referrals. I already kind of mentioned that already, but let's just jump through the hoops here. So referrals work both ways. Photographer is booked or just doesn't want to take that client. And then they have a trust already developed with you. They're not sending a client to somebody they don't know, knowing that somebody else can mess up. So you're already within their circle. They have this trust developed. They like you. They know you. I cover that in my other little short videos. But they know you. They like you. They trust you. Those are the 3 main components. And they send clients to someone they trust. And then you benefit because you get the business and you don't lose the business. And guess what? If you get a client, if you're booked, do the same thing. Pay it forward, pass the referral over to the photographer. And over time, it just snowballs. It starts small with 1 client being referred, 2 clients, 3 clients. Suddenly you're going to find yourself in a situation where it's like, dude, I'm too busy, and always monitor that spot. If you get too busy, that means the time is to increase prices. Don't take on more. I'm going to say it again. Don't take on more work. You're going to be tempted because it's immediate money. And just don't do it. Increase your prices, even if that means losing a client, because this is how you climb and this is how you get to the higher levels. The more connected you are, the more stable and profitable your business becomes. There's going to be a limit and a cap in terms of how many people you can attract. But imagine it scales. If you're with 5 buddies and they're all photographers, if they're obviously they're doing everything to like bring leads into their business, right? So even in terms of something as simple as like, they may not even be running like Facebook ads but like even if they create content, even something as simple as like they come back from their shoots and their events and they have a network of people that they spread it to and they share it with, that automatically you're increasing that times 5 if you have times 6, right? Because you're the 6th person, right? But and then all those leads have to end up somewhere, and if they cannot take upon those on the lead, they have to pass it onto you. So that's great to way to get more business in the door. So I think we can close on this one. Let me look at the next one here. Why having a photographer network saves you. This one is a big one, and I can't specifically think of like one example that I personally went through. And here we're talking about things like emergencies. People get sick. People have family issues. People have unexpected events in their life. You're going to find yourself in a situation where something's going to happen and you're going to have to turn and seek help. And if you don't have, and clients will ask you, do you have a backup photographer? And you better do. So at least have somebody close to you that will be able to do it. And here's what happened to me. Like I said, over 200 weddings, and I always just had this mentality of like, I'll just do it. Like, even if I'm sick, even if I'm limping, even if I did weddings with my injured back, I did weddings when I was limping, I did weddings when I just, if like I was sick, that's not a problem. You just work sick. That's the solution, right? But, and I hate talking about COVID, but coincidentally, that's exactly what happened to me. I did 100% of my weddings, well, 99% of my weddings, except for one event. And what happened was I got hit with COVID, and it wasn't even an option. Not only I couldn't perform mentally, but I was like on the floor, just laying flat and not knowing what to do. And luckily, I was able to reach out to one of the friend photographers, because imagine, it's not as much of a problem for you as it is a problem for the bride, because brides spend all this time and planning, and if that trust is not in there, right? If you don't develop, like during the conversations, your clients have to trust you tremendously, right? Like, imagine what level of trust they have when I reached out to the bride and I said, COVID, I'm not going to be able to show up, but I already have a person that's going to work with you. It's somebody that I stand behind. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about another photographer. They are going to do the photography, and I'll handle the rest of the remaining aspects of the photography. So I'll do the selections and editing and albums and everything. But I said, I stand behind this person. She's in my network. She's going to go and do it. And that's exactly what happened. So having backups and like trusted replacements, or for me personally, it was like second shooters, meant that your reputation kind of stays strong, because you can rely on people. It's not just a random person you hire for $200 to help you along, and you have no idea what kind of equipment they're going to bring, what kind of attitude they're going to bring, how they're going to be dressed, how they're going to behave. So having that and establishing that earlier in the process will help you across the board. So having that network isn't just about like your personal growth, but it's also about protection. And reframing the mindset. Let's look at this one. Be yourself. How do I stand out in my own way? I already told you the identity connections. How can you just be yourself? Attract the right clients. How do I attract the right clients for me? Connect with others. How do I connect with photographers who help me grow? The real goal is becoming the best version of you, not beating somebody else. Very often we compare ourselves to somebody that's already on a different level without remembering, like, think of a ladder. You're on step number 1 or 2. Somebody's on a step 24 or 38. And you're immediately trying to compare, and that's just our human behavior. That's how we have evolved in in time. That comparison, making sure you're fine or you're the same, makes sense, but just be realistic. To get to 38 and 26 or 50 to 55. They also had to pass 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just remember, it's about where you are. Are you better than you were last month? Did you shoot? Did you have more engagements with photography with your clients than you had last month? Did you have more this month than in February of last year? It's very, very important. So just reframe your mindset, and it's about improving yourself. And just to wrap it up, I'm not sure if I'm going for how long I've been going for. It doesn't matter really. But to wrap up a call and give you some sort of quote unquote homework assignments, reach out to photographers this week. Nothing is holding you back. And I gotta tell you, there is like local organizations that you can look up. Their Facebook groups, a phenomenal place to look for photographers. There's even like Facebook groups for second shooters. You can also start there. A lot of people are looking for like help, and a lot of them are going to be at your level if you're starting out. So I would definitely recommend that. There are events very, very often organized on Facebook where you can go and attend with like local photographers. So those are the places. And once you go to like 1, 2, and 3 and just kind of start asking questions, you're going to be a little freaked out because it's new, right? But you're going to go and just, introduce yourself. Hey, listen, here's where I am. Be very realistic and just say, hey, the simple question. It's like, hey, do you know of any other like events, or do you know any other people that I'm trying to like, get myself to the next level as soon as possible? And are there other places? And you're going to learn a lot from these guys. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this information with you for free. And the best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel. Obviously, you're liking the video or leaving a comment below. Your support means the world to me. And if you have enjoyed the content, make sure to check out the next video suggested on the screen. See you there.